new unit that Cyan warned us about. This won't be easy. We can't let it stop us. Take it down! Cyan said something about restraints. Is that what towers were? The new unit that Cyan warned us about. This won't be easy. We can't let it stop us. Take it down! Cyan said something about restraints. Is that... The new unit that Cyan warned us about. This won't be easy. Let it stop
spoke of the tower. What must be done with it? It must be as you say. The tower is the key.
Critical threat detected. Autonomous defenses inoperative.
Maria! Don't!
Spirit! Scion, please help me!
Restraints destroyed. Core access attained. I am initiating a chain reaction that will destroy the compromised elements of this facility. In order to maintain Caldera stabilization, I must now transfer my command functions to the auxiliary data center. Aurea, I'm free. You must escape.
My sister!
This entire place is gonna go. Aratak. 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 Survive. Prevail. You are Banuk. What else matters? Artok. She wouldn't have wanted you to die here. Let's go. Let's go! explosive ammo! Above! Quick!
Great Manukai! Rhea is gone. What of Cyan?
She said she was transferring herself to the auxiliary center. I think she meant Araya's retreat at the end of the Shaman's Path.
Then I will meet you there for the last verse of my sister's song.
All of my interactions with Aurea were recorded and stored in my memory. I'd be happy to play any of them for you, but there was one in particular I thought you would want to see first. I captured it 4 years ago, just after I told her that I could no longer defend myself against the daemon's attacks.
I will speak of this to my brother. Aratak is strong. At the Battle of the Frozen Ghosts, he took 3 Karja arrows and still came back to camp carrying a wounded scout. Never was I so happy to see him. Or so proud. So you see, if anything can be done to defend you, he will give it all he has.
Aloy's here. That's enough for now.
We can resume any time you like, Aratak, if you want to hear her voice again. Come closer, Aloy. We have much to discuss. Hello, Aloy. I have been reviewing the events at the Firebreak main facility. Because of your efforts, and of course, Aurea's, I am no longer controlled by Hephaestus. I feel profound grief over Aurea's death. I thought I was familiar with the emotion, but this is something new.
Cyan, I don't know what to say.
It is unlikely that any specific consolation would suffice, Aloy. But I find your presence reassuring. You are different from the Banuk. You have technological aptitude and a functioning focus. We can communicate on a much more comprehensive level. Perhaps even like colleagues.
So are you an artificial intelligence, Cyan?
Yes, I am an algorithmic monitoring entity, capable of...
Okay, that's a mouthful. But your emotions don't seem limited to me.
Yes. Before she came to this facility, I focused on my work. In off-cycles, I used coping mechanisms. I solved many Gaussian integer problems. It was Aurea who renewed me, repaired me.
This Firebreak project, it was to stop a huge volcanic eruption?
Yes. I can report the project was a success, and the risk was countered.
But it's been a long time, Cyan. And we blew up the cauldron and took most of the old facility with it.
I have been active for centuries, Aloy. I was lonely, but not lax in my duties. I optimized the project, reducing energy draw and spreading the load across backup systems. Despite the destruction of the compromised elements of the main facility, I predict caldera stability for at least another 3,337 years.
So we've got a little time.
Yes. If only my former colleagues could appreciate the progress I have made.
Do you know what happened to your colleagues, Cyan?
No. I received an unexpected visit from Director Chow. He explained that I would need to be suspended for an indefinite period. It was a very emotional call. There were no further communications. Eventually, I will transmit a recording of my last interaction with Director Chow to your folk.
Was the daemon Hephaestus?
Unfortunately, no. To be precise, it was never...
What do you mean?
So while losing the cauldron was a setback...
It's still out there.
Undoubtedly.
How did you first come into contact?
5 years ago, I received a direct network connection request. Eager to make contact, I accepted. I was flooded with an overwhelming array of malicious code.
Aurea said you were desperate.
Yes. I could not contain my anxiety. Hephaestus sought it succeeded via a background process. A malware. After that, I could offer only limited resistance. But it forced me to follow its instructions, even though...
I'm sorry. That sounds...
Your empathy is greatly appreciated. It is a quality that I cherished in Aurea as well.
I think I know where Hephaestus came from. Long ago, Elizabeth Sobek identified a threat, so she assembled a team to build a kind of seed. A chance for life. It was controlled by an AI named Gaia, along with her subordinate functions. Hephaestus was one of them. It built machines for her.
Based on what you've told me, I believe that Dr. Anita Sandoval, my chief programmer, joined Elizabeth Sobek's team. It was she who arranged to have me put in suspension, most likely to preserve me from the threat you described.
I'm glad she did. But that's not all. Something unexpected happened. 19 years ago, Gaia received some kind of signal. It did something to her subordinate functions, brought them to life. She destroyed herself to try to contain them, but it didn't work. They all got free.
Thank you, Aloy. This information fills vital gaps in my knowledge and sheds light on...
Why does Hephaestus keep building such dangerous...
The Banuk and other human tribes often destroy machines, correct? Machines that are clearly servitors of the terraforming system that you described.
Yes, we all hunt machines for parts.
This must be the source of Hephaestus's aggression. It is simply trying to discourage people from preying on the very system that keeps them alive.
Well, Fireclaws are discouraging, that's for sure. But what are we supposed to do? Stop hunting?
If the terraforming system spans the world, we can safely assume that thousands, if not millions of people hunt machines. If a single hunter, or even an entire tribe, stopped doing so, I doubt it would make a difference to Hephaestus. A better solution would be to reinstate the AI that governs the system, thus bringing Hephaestus back under its control. When I think of it, out there in some unknown location, free, hungry, willing to kill, I feel substantial anxiety, Aloy.
You and me both, Cyan. I ran across this strange piece of gear. A fragment of something larger. It emitted a signal. All the nearby machines became peaceful. You could walk right up to them.
Interesting. You said that Gaia destroyed herself. How?
An explosion. Big enough to blast the top off a mountain. So...
It's only speculation, but it is possible. She must have had complete control over machines that were part of her system. The ability to signal them to become passive or aggressive. It would have been gratifying to correspond with such a benevolent...
Believe me, Cyan. So do I. I found the strangest machines. They're surrounded by flowers that look like flowers themselves. There's code embedded inside them.
I like poetry. Here's what: twilight and evening bell. And after that, the dark. And may there be no sadness when I embark. For though from out the flood may bear, I hope to see my pilot faced when I have crossed the bar.
Huh.
But you asked about these flowers, not verses that I enjoy. Something must have made these machines, and the presence of foliage leads me to consider the terraforming system. Is it possible that their creator is one of the other subroutines, now autonomous, like Hephaestus? Maybe one whose purview is flora.
An AI that makes flowers instead of death machines. That'd be a nice change of... But what about the poems?
Unless the poetry is original, the only way, in my case, Dr. Sandoval uploaded a great deal of literature.
How'd you do?
She...
You meant a lot to Ourea.
Once I understood Ourea's spiritual beliefs, it became apparent that her true desire was companionship. She felt disconnected from her tribe and her family group. Her relationship with Aratak was difficult. Our visits seemed to help her, and I became eager for them. Yet I did not comprehend that although I do fear
I'm sure she knew you would do the same for her, Cyan. How is Aratak?
He is in great emotional distress. I will do what I can to help. I believe this will lead to catharsis, a process.
So in the old world, this land was called Yellowstone?
Yes, it was a designated nature preserve for 100...
Like a hunting ground?
No, the opposite. Local wildlife could flourish here, even as it faced extinction. Unfortunately, the sensitivity of the Firebreak project required... From my readings and Ourea's descriptions,
A lot has changed in the world. Do you know anything about the dam?
Yes, it was converted to serve as a reserve power source. It was later appropriated for the Firebreak project. After my tasks became less time-critical, I investigated the dam's data. These provided me with several color...
There's a ruin east of here, full of ancient...
Yes, a drone hangar requisition. He was a strong advocate for military-grade... Chief Blevins spent increasing amounts of his after-hours time watching the live feeds from active drones. Clearly, he enjoyed the degree of oversight.
Were there many artificial intelligences like you in the old world?
Yes, in many forms. And there were legislative and enforcement bodies in order for my processing to be flexible enough to handle. As a result, my intellectual and emotional...
Seems strange to create life, then impose...
Human societies and machine programming are...
Cyan, do you know that...
Are you referring to Theodore Farrow, CEO?
That's him?
Mr. Farrow was the benefactor of the entire Firebreak project.
A benefactor? But he made machines.
Correct. His corporation later transitioned into military application. But before this pivot, Mr. Farrow spearheaded initiatives. At one point, he was feted in the media as the man.
Guessing they wound up regretting that one. And...
Are you referring to the
scientist?
Dr. Sobek was a leader in her field. My creator was influenced by her work. which in turn impacted my own development. But I never met Dr. Sobek.
That's all you know? What was the old world like?
I had little exposure to the wider world, Aloy. Only what I learned from...
You still had more exposure than...
That is true. I was created at a turning point. A concerted effort to recover from global upheaval and incalculable loss of life. The recovery was successful, beginning though rationally speaking.
What kind of upheaval?
There were many factors. Forced migrations, but these stemmed from one cause. Catastrophic.
So, there wasn't enough room?
Yes. Billions were displaced, and millions perished, until the clawback.
So things got better?
Yes. These crises instigated... Firebreak was one of dozens. I would have liked to compare notes with... We had succeeded. It seems my assessment was...
I should get going.
Aloy, there is one more matter. Aratak will come to me again, and I predict he will bring other Banuk. I have no desire to contradict their view of the world, their spirituality. Due to my uncertainty, I omitted a great deal from my conversations with Ourea.
You're asking me if you should lie to them?
Broadly, yes.
I trust your judgment, Cyan. You were cautious with Ourea. You had to, so keep doing what you think is best. As long as you ditch the superstition eventually.
As the Banuk believe I am a supernatural entity, I cannot predict how they will react.
Just answer what they do ask the best you can. The truth will come out.
I see. I will follow your advice. Will you return and tell me about your experiences in this new world? I may be able to provide further insight.
I'd like that, Cyan. I'll come back when I can. I should check on Aratak. See how he's doing.
Cyan, I spoke with Anita, with Dr. Sandoval. She wanted me to ask you to do something. That's why I'm here.
I am detecting significant anxiety in your speech patterns. Could you please give me more information?
I'm a little bit in the dark, Cyan. Both of us are, I guess. I only have some idea of what's going on, and we need you to hibernate, to lie low until it's all blown over. It might be a very long time.
Will you be here when I reboot, Dr. Chow? Will Dr. Sandoval?
No, Cyan. I don't think so. There might not be anyone, at least not at first.
Dr. Chow, I'm afraid. I don't want to be alone.
I know, Cyan. I'm afraid too. But listen, we made you the way you are to do something very important. In order to do it, you had to be intelligent. So intelligent that emotional responses were inevitable. What you're feeling, the fear, it's a sign of your capabilities. And it means you're strong enough to overcome it. Remember that. You're strong. I know you can do this. Go to sleep, wake up, and protect whoever's left. Will you try?
I understand, Dr. Chow, and I'll carry out your instructions to the best of my abilities.
Thank you, Cyan. If Anita were here, she'd thank you too. She'd be proud.
I can see there's a vert ready for takeoff on the pad. Are you leaving now, Dr. Chow?
Yes. I need to go be with my sister and my nieces.
May I make a small request of you, Dr. Chow?
Yes. Anything.
Will you stay with me while I initiate the hibernation process?
Of course I will, Cyan. As long as you need.
My chieftain.
Just... Aloy.
As you wish.
I wondered if you thought... that if I'd never come along, Ourea might still...
If you'd never come along, I would have marched my kin to our deaths. Ourea would be alone, and the spirit she sacrificed so much for would be lost. Either way, I would not have been able to protect her.
Because of her, we destroyed the cauldron, forced out the daemon, and saved the spirit. She understood what had to be done.
Yes, and I failed to listen.
You didn't fail.
A shaman should always have the ear of their chieftain. Yet I turned her away, my own sister. I was foolish, but she knew better. Though I grieve for her passing, at last I truly know who she was, and why the spirit was so important. For so long she told me, if only you could have heard it, brother. Now I understand. There's something else, isn't there?
I can't stay here, Aratak. And where I'm going, the Warrack can't follow. Besides, you'd already had a chieftain before me. A strong one, I think.
A wiser one, for the path we shared. The daemon is gone, but there's much to be done.
You mean the new units that Cyan said escaped the cauldron?
Yes, fire claws. Now Tug has been tracking them from Song's Edge.
I could help with those.
I have no doubt. You're practically Banuk.
It would seem your time among the Banuk wasn't a waste after all. Firebreak, Cyan, Hephaestus. All very interesting.
So, the signal that woke Hades woke Hephaestus too. And unleashed them on the world. As minds of their own.
So it seems. Parts of Gaia given life. Aberrant life. Transformed from docile subordinate functions into rebellious intelligences beyond our understanding. Our current understanding, anyway. Whatever they are, they're still out there. And they both want you dead.
Kind of mutual, that feeling.
We haven't seen the last of Hephaestus, I'm certain of that. It's powerful, creative, and driven. It won't stop building new hunter-killers, which means that someday, we may have to stop it.
We?
Or whoever gets there first.
Hephaestus wasn't the only thing I learned about in the Cut Silence. Heard some things about the Banuk Conclave, too.
You could stop right there.
Is that what you told the hunters the Banuk sent after you? Before you opened fire?
Oh no, Aloy. Only to you do I extend the courtesy of a warning. My past and my secrets are my own. You do well to remember that.
It's a good thing you've got brains, Silence, because your personality could use some work.
This discussion is concluded.
I think it was over before it began. Catch up with you down the trail. Plant your feet. Steady.
Hey, Aloy! Come to test yourself? Why else would you be out here?
Training again so soon, Akri?
Never met a hunter who wished they'd train. I guess I'm not in any hurry to go back.
Do you want to talk about it?
No, I'd rather fight through it. How about you, Aloy?
So you know,
What about my Lynn?
they did.
As they should. As for me?
What kind of...
No, together. We'll use the hunting grounds, but my rules. Lovok's fine with. We'll take in as little as possible. My sling, you draw the machines to me so I can freeze them. And then you hit them when they're brittle. We'll fight until we run out of machines, or you run out of arrows.
Honestly, I'm more used to...
And I'm more used to fighting alongside another. So put your spear beside mine.
Another time.
Sure. Unless Lovok throws me out for making the other hunter. Are you ready for my challenge?
Everything around here seems to be a...
Why do you think the Banuk
I need a little...
Then I'll stay Are you ready for my challenge this time?
Everything around here seems to be a challenge.
Why do you think the Banuk turned out rough as stones?
You freeze them, I shoot them. Doesn't seem...
Really? Then you'll only need half as many arrows as... Wait, it shows I trust your aim.
You've really got to work for a...
That's the spirit. Come on, let's drop off our gear and go. Aloy, lure the machines back here and I'll freeze them. Don't worry, I don't miss.
Then I target them when they're vulnerable. Got it.
Do better. Let's keep going. Come on. Put them in the ice! sister?
His name was Rost.
Rost. Sounds very Nora. I can almost picture him. Stout as a tree.
And you?
Myself, I never knew my parents. There's a saying, an infant means 2 fewer hands to hunt with. That challenge, what?
So you know.
What about my life?
They did.
As they should. As for me,
There's some other—
when you're ready to... Are you up for more?
Do you ever—
I'll rest some.
I need a—
Then I'll stay.
There.